How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a brand new video, guys. Now today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have a hard time speaking because I actually have a basically like a sore on my tongue, like the back of my tongue. So my whole throat really hurts. So I have a hard time speaking right now. As you may notice, I have to like elongate my words. Like it basically sounds like I've got something in my mouth, but it's just because I have basically, like, I don't know, like something's messed up basically with my throat at the moment, so it really hurts. I'm having a hard time speaking, so I'm not going to try to speak for too long and all that stuff. Either way, welcome to a brand new video, guys. Now today, ladies and gentlemen, I actually have something really fun for you guys. So we have some new cool stuff that's been coming out, and when I first saw this, I was really confused, right? Because I read like the translation and I was like, watch carefully because it shows big something Pokemon. I'm just like, what? This is confusing, right? But people were sending this to me, like viewers were sending this my way. I'll actually see exactly who sent this my way right here. One sec. So I Luke Light, he sent it my way, and also one of you guys, like one of the other guys, Hiroka as well, sent this my way, just saying like, hey, check this out. Like I was like, okay, well, what is it? And I watched this, and I'm just like, okay, you know, it looks like Pokemon Sword and Shield, and clearly some sort of Pokemon I've not seen before. Like, what is that? Like, it doesn't look like something I've seen before, and it kind of reminds me of like when I first saw it, I was like. Is that like, whatchamacallit? Oh god. My throat. I can't remember what I was thinking of when I first saw it, but basically I was like, huh, what kind of Pokemon could that be? And then it runs through, and look at that. It is very confusing, right? Is this like a brand new Gigantamax Pokemon or whatever? Well, basically, it turns out that somebody's actually managed to make their own Gigantamax Pokemon, right? And somebody here basically made one that is for Klink, right? Or KLINKLANG, whatever. So here's the thing, right? If we search up the Klink family, right? Like we search out the whole family of like Pokemon, and we'll go to like KLINKLANG, and KLINKLANG, right? So people were like really speculating a while back, because if you look at the general design of like, you know, KLINKLANG, people were speculating a long time ago that, like, you know, there's going to be some sort of new form for it, right? Some new form of this Pokemon's going to show up. And there was a lot of hints that pointed towards it, like, you know, the fact that there's literally, like, Pokemon within Sword and Shield, like, actually within, like, not Pokemon, but, like, shirts and stuff, and, like, companies and stuff that show, like, you know, Klink and KLINKLANG and whatnot on shirts and stuff. So people were like, hey, I mean, you know, it wouldn't be surprising if this Pokemon showed up with a new form, but it didn't. And then this shows up out of nowhere. And it's super confusing because it shows like essentially a Gigantamax, you know, KLINKLANG. It's a Gigantamax KLINKLANG. Well, it turns out, this is what it is, ladies and gentlemen, is a fake Pokemon. It's from this old Pokemon X and Y rumor. It's an old fake Pokemon scan, right, from back in like the X and Y era, as you guys can see right here. This is from back then. So somebody actually took the time and actually modeled, like literally modeled all that together and put that inside of Pokemon Sword and Shield. Like, I mean, that's genuinely what somebody sat down and did here. And we can just refresh this to check it out. Like, but this is kind of nuts if you think about it, right? Like, let me make my face cam a bit smaller and make this larger for you guys so you can see what I mean. But, like, this is kind of nuts, honestly. Let me just lower the volume. But, look at that. Like, this is kind of insane that somebody actually took the time to do this, like actually went through the process of modeling this, which doesn't look like it was a, you know, a small modeling job. Like, it, I mean, it definitely wasn't the biggest deal in the world, right, I would assume, because it's just like, you know, gears that are moving back and forth and whatnot, but it still must have taken a little bit of time to like put together, as, you know, from somebody I assume would be just maybe like a novice, you know, modeler. And this also proves another point, right? Like, this right here proves another point about Sword and Shield, which is that it clearly is possible, right, for the viewers now, like not the viewers, but the audience, right, the Pokemon audience, the Pokemon fans, to just simply add in whatever they want into a Pokemon game now. Like in the past, like with the 3DS games, it was a lot more difficult to implement like 3D models. Like new 3D models were harder to put into the games, just because of the massive shit show it was to, like, you know, include new stuff on that. But with the Switch, there's far more capacity, right? The Switch is better in overall. Like overall, it's a better console, so of course it's going to have a lot more possibilities for like expansion within it, right? And this right here proves that. This right here proves that, hey, the Switch clearly is usable in more varieties of ways, and you can clearly use it to implement your own little Pokemon. And somebody actually did it here, and it's kind of nuts. I don't know, it's kind of insane that somebody managed to put like a custom Pokemon. And not just like a custom Pokemon, but a custom Gigantamax form with a custom animation, set of animation like running on it, right? into this. Like, this is actually pretty freaking cool. So I don't know, man. This is pretty nice. This is actually pretty sick. But I don't know. I kind of think it's interesting. I kind of think it's pretty lit, to be honest. Like, I think it's pretty lit. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Like, let me know in the comment section down below about this one. But this is not the only thing that's popping up right now. We have some more stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And the next thing here is this right here. So, this is something that I first of all got to give credit to BSOD Gaming. So, BSOD Gaming or BSOD Gaming, because he's been sitting and actually remaking I guess him and his like little group have been sitting and remaking textures for Pokemon Sword and Shield, like making like a texture mod that improves and changes the textures in the game. So I thought we'd take a look at what those look like. They actually look pretty good. So right here is a really good retexture of like the rocks and stuff. As you guys can see, like the mountainside here, like the actual textures are way better that they've remade. Like there's no questions about that. Like I just looking at this, the moment I see it, I notice like straight away the ground textures are better, the rocks are better. Like just looking at that bottom left rock, like the rock next to that doctor or whatever trainer. Just looking there, just seeing the difference between the textures there and the grass, like, you know, kind of matching better with the new texture. Like, I don't know, it just looks way better. Like this right side one is way higher quality, so that looks good. On top of that, there's also this. Here we have more like, you know, rocks and stuff that have been changed. Kind of hard maybe to see from my like little face here, but you know, I'm just gonna move myself down here. Woohoo! Hello. But there you go. You can see here again, you know, textures on the ground looking way better on this side. Overall, also just like, you know, just the rocks up there, the top rock, like right here. This rock right here looking way better, like far more detailed, and actually like just generally looking like really good. Less kind of clay, you know. I mean, that's the problem with Sword and Shield's textures. They're very clay-like, you know. They just look like kind of very low res. Like honestly, like right here, looking at the rocks over here, right, like the rocks over, like right over here, like looking at them like this, like side to side, the first thing I notice is like, man, they really are like, you know, not up to scuff. Like they really need like, and I feel like these ones over here like aren't even fully like made up either. Like the ones on this side, I'm not sure if they even changed these. I will be honest, because these ones need some work. These rocks, the textures on them are just not up to scuff. Whereas this rock over here, this one's perfect here. But over here with Sword and Shield's official one, it's just not up to scuff. So clearly, I'm a big fan of this. I like modded stuff. I like modded, you know, community stuff. I've always been a big fan of that. So I like seeing that. And here we can see a little bit of another mod on the trees, the tree mod, which I think looks good. I think also there's a ground texture change here. I think I might be wrong though, but I think there might be a minor ground texture change. Yeah, I think there's a ground texture change here. Yep, definitely. On the right side. And trees, of course, have changed, which I do prefer the ones on the right side way more. They just look better. They look actually, they look better, more cartoony than the ones on the left. The ones on the left just look like a low-res, you know, texture. And yeah, I know the whole trees are a meme. I get that. But, like, genuinely, like, the ones on the right, the other side here, the modded ones, actually look far more cartoony and fit more with the Pokemon style that Pokemon should be going for. So I don't know why they wouldn't go down that path. I mean, I've actually messed around with this sort of stuff because I actually really loved graphic design back in school. Whenever like I studied like game development, I really loved that part of things. But I wasn't in the graphics side of like the, you know, the class. I was in like, you know, school and education. I was on the programming side, but I always liked graphics a lot. So I used to mess around with it on my free time. I used to mess around with textures and stuff like this, and I remember like this is my favorite, like this is generally my favorite style, right? The kind of tree textures you see right there, that's my favorite style. It reminds me of like the newer textures you see from like World of Warcraft, which has this kind of like cartoony yet like good looking style. You know, like I really like that. So big fan of that. I'm gonna be honest, big fan. Next thing, so we have like a new route one. He's updated the route so it looks different. I'm not the biggest fan of the grass, however. I'm not sure if that has been changed or not, but I think it's been changed. I'm just not the biggest fan of that. The rest though looks fine. Here you can see like a little bit of the difference on the textures on the walls, I guess. Better wall details and that sort of stuff. Looks fine. Here though is a bit of a different one. This one actually is pretty more like much more evident. Like you can see literally like the moss and stuff, and like just like it's literally like you're looking at like through a bad lens, and then you put on a good lens when you go to this new one here on the rocks. Like seriously, like this texture is way better. Like it just is way better. So I'm a big fan of that. And I can't wait to try to play the game with these improved textures. I can't wait to see that and try it out. Like, you know, gameplay-wise. Then we also have this. They've changed the textures on the ground here. As you can see, again, we've seen this before, I think. We saw this earlier. Actually, they've modded it more now, it seems like. Yeah, they've actually changed the rocks now. Seemingly a bit more, so that's good. Then here you can see like the difference between like the battles, how like, you know, they've changed the textures, how the trees look better in the background. They really do look better. Like honestly, the new modded one stuff is pretty good. Here we actually can see like how that looks in other battles, and yeah. It's pretty neat. I've got to say, it's pretty neat. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I want to show you this because I think it's pretty cool that, like, you know, the community is modding so many things into, like, you know, Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I'm a big fan of this sort of stuff. Like, this is something I'm really passionate about. Somebody who, you know, who used to make a lot of fan game videos and ROM hacks and used to be really into that side of things and used to like mess around with that sort of stuff myself. I'm a big fan of seeing this sort of stuff. So this is not me trying to like shit on Sword and Shield, even though I have a plethora of issues with Sword and Shield, and honestly, like, they're not really my favorite games ever. Like, and I'm not the biggest fan of them, but I feel like, you know, like this sort of stuff can actually make, like, you know, like literally the fans can literally fix a game a lot of times. I mean, that's literally what happened with a lot of like previous games, like, you know, from like Bethesda, where Bethesda just leaves a bunch of bugs and stuff inside their games and just like really just doesn't do well with like bug fixing and stuff like that, and then like fans come in and fix that, and then you get a better experience because of fans, not because of the company that made it, but actually because of the fandom, because they decided to, hey, you know, we can do better here, so let's do better than them. And I appreciate that. The only problem with Pokemon is, of course, that it's on the Switch, which means that generally modding, you know, a console game is usually a lot harder than modding a PC game, because PC games are a lot easier. Like, honestly, anybody can mod a PC game. Like, usually there's a bunch of tools for it as well. Whereas with these sort of games, Nintendo doesn't even like Nintendo doesn't want us to mod, you know, these sort of things. Whereas PC developers, they're usually more fine with it, and they kind of like it because then that puts like the work out of their hands and kind of lets you handle that side of things. And it keeps a game alive usually. Modding keeps a lot of games alive. But yeah, so I'm a big fan of where this is going. I like this kind of like, you know, inclusion of like a Gigantamax KLINKLANG. I like that. It's pretty sick. So let me know in the comment section down below. What, guys, you know, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? Let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Have yourselves a great day. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. I'm actually going to be building a new PC. I've got all the parts over there, minus the chassis and the motherboard, which are going to be, a friend's going to be bringing along over today, so we can build this PC. I might actually be streaming it. So if you guys want to see me stream, if you want to see me stream the new PC, do hashtag stream it, and I'll do a PC live stream, like PC building live stream. So yeah, guys, thank you so much. Have a good day, and bye bye, ladies and gentlemen.